Hello, and welcome to our guide on the top 15 streets to avoid during the Olympics. Look, we all love the thrill of the games, the feats of athleticism, the emotional medal ceremonies where athletes pretend to know the words to their own national anthems. But nobody enjoys the, shall we say, logistical inconveniences that come with hosting the world's largest sporting event. Now, you might be thinking, John, it's just a few weeks, it can't be that bad. And to that, I say, oh, sweet summer child, you clearly haven't experienced the unbridled chaos of an Olympic host city. It's like trying to hail a rickshaw in Times Square during a citywide blackout. So, whether you're a local trying to navigate your own city, or a visitor hoping to actually see some of the sights and not just the inside of a crowded bus, this guide is for you. Over the next few minutes, we'll be your cynical, slightly exasperated guide to surviving the urban hellscape that is an Olympic city. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Main Street, the clogged artery of our fair city. During the Olympics, bustling takes on a whole new meaning. Imagine slow-moving buses, confused tourists, and that one festive guy. Frequent road closures are a given. Olympic organizers love their motorcades. Your commute becomes a game of guess the road closure. Can I just walk? Have you met humans? Navigating a sea of sweaty humanity, avoid Main Street like it's the plague. Elm Avenue is undergoing a facelift. It's been torn apart more thoroughly than a Hollywood starlet's pre-Oscars regimen. Hosting the Olympics was the perfect time to overhaul Elm Avenue's infrastructure. City planning and common sense have about as much in common as a panda and a penguin. Imagine navigating a maze designed by a caffeinated toddler with a penchant for jackhammers. You'll be met with detours, roadblocks, and more construction equipment than a Michael Bay film set. And don't even get me started on the noise. So, you've made it to the Olympics, you've got your fanny pack, your overpriced water bottle, and a vague sense of national pride. Good for you! But before you head down Pine Street, let me warn you, it's less a street and more a raging river of humanity. Imagine trying to cross a marathon, but instead of runners, it's tourists with selfie sticks and those weird foam fingers. It's enough to make you yearn for the peace and quiet of a packed stadium. Now I understand the allure of a good Olympic stroll. The problem is, Pine Street funnels everyone toward the main event, like lemmings marching towards a particularly exciting cliff. Except, instead of falling to their doom, they're just queuing up for overpriced souvenirs and lukewarm hot dogs. Look, if you enjoy the feeling of being constantly jostled, having your toes trampled on, and making eye contact with strangers just long enough to feel deeply uncomfortable, then by all means Pine Street awaits. But for the rest of us who value personal space and a modicum of sanity, I'd suggest a detour. Or, just stay home and watch it on TV like a normal person. Oak Boulevard, home to charming boutiques, quaint cafes, and enough parades to make a dictator blush. Now, I enjoy a good parade as much as the next person who enjoys being stuck in traffic while giant cartoon characters wave vaguely in their direction. But during the Olympics, Oak Boulevard becomes the epicenter of celebratory processions. We're talking floats, marching bands, athletes awkwardly waving from the back of convertibles, the whole shebang. And while I'm sure it's all very festive and culturally enriching, it also means that actually getting anywhere on Oak Boulevard becomes about as likely as finding a parking spot within a 5-mile radius. Look, I get it. Parades are a chance for cities to show off their vibrant spirit, their cultural tapestry, their ability to make giant inflatable mascots that haunt your dreams. But if your Olympic itinerary involves things like, say, actually getting to events on time, then you might want to avoid Oak Boulevard like it's a lane reserved for Ryan Lochte ego. Because trust me, the only thing more frustrating than missing the opening ceremony is being stuck behind a float celebrating synchronized swimming while it slowly makes its way down Oak Boulevard. So, you're looking for parking on Maple Drive during the Olympics? Well, allow me to be the bearer of bad news. You've got a better chance of winning a gold medal in a sport you've never heard of. Seriously, parking on Maple Drive during this global sporting extravaganza is about as rare as finding a sober person at the closing ceremony. You see, Maple Drive is normally a perfectly pleasant street, but during the Olympics it transforms into a gladiatorial arena, where only the most ruthless and skilled parkers emerge victorious. We're talking circling the block for hours, engaging in passive-aggressive bumper tapping, and possibly sacrificing a firstborn to the parking gods. Now I understand that the allure of street parking is strong. It's free, it's convenient, and it allows you to avoid the soul-crushing experience of navigating a multi-story parking garage. But on Maple Drive during the Olympics, it's a fool's errand. So my advice? Take public transportation, rent a scooter, or, if you're feeling particularly adventurous, train a team of squirrels to carry you on their backs. Just don't say I didn't warn you about the parking situation on Maple Drive. And at number 6, we have Cedar Lane. Now, Cedar Lane is like that drawer in your kitchen where you keep all the random stuff, the one with the dead batteries and the loose screws. It's a chaotic mess of narrow lanes, blind corners, and more congestion than a clown car full of sumo wrestlers. Seriously, driving down Cedar Lane is like trying to navigate a game of Tetris where all the blocks are moving and also actively trying to run you over. You'll find yourself stuck behind delivery trucks, lost tourists, and that one guy who seems to think he's in a Fast and Furious movie. Spoiler alert, he's not. And if you thought about cycling down Cedar Lane, well, let's just say you'd better have a good life insurance policy and a strong desire to experience life on the edge. Look, I'm all for adrenaline rushes, but I prefer mine with a side of nachos and without the constant threat of being sideswiped by a minivan. So do yourself a favor and avoid Cedar Lane like it's a public restroom stall with a broken lock and questionable smells. Trust me, your sanity will thank you. Coming in at number 7 is Birch Road, a street so popular with tourists, it should come with its own passport control. And look, there's nothing wrong with tourists. They're just like us, only with more comfortable shoes and a worrying lack of awareness of their surroundings. But on Birch Road, those tourists reach critical mass. They'll be stopping in the middle of the sidewalk to take selfies with pigeons, blocking crosswalks while consulting maps the size of small tablecloths, and generally moving with the urgency of a sloth on vacation. Now, you might think, it's just tourists, I can handle that. But trust me, the sheer volume of them on Birch Road is enough to make even the most patient person question their life choices. You'll find yourself dodging selfie sticks, backpacks, and the occasional rogue fanny pack with the grace of a drunken flamingo. So if you value your time, your sanity, and your ability to walk in a straight line without being bumped into, steer clear of Birch Road. Unless, of course, you're looking for a crash course in international relations, in which case dive right in. At number 8, we have Spruce Street, a street so plagued by public transport delays it should come with a free therapy session. Now, I understand that public transport can be a bit of a gamble. Sometimes it's a smooth ride, and sometimes it's like being trapped in a metal box with a broken air conditioner and someone's screaming toddler. But on Spruce Street, the delays are so frequent, so predictable, and so soul-crushingly long that you'd have better luck hitching a ride on the back of a passing pigeon. You'll be standing at the bus stop, watching the minutes tick by on your watch, wondering if you accidentally wandered into a time warp. And the worst part, when the bus finally does arrive, it's usually packed tighter than a tin of sardines, and you're left fighting for space with a bunch of strangers who are just as grumpy and frustrated as you are. So unless you're a big fan of waiting, crowds, and the lingering scent of despair, I'd suggest giving Spruce Street a wide berth. Your blood pressure will thank you. And honestly, wouldn't you rather spend your time doing anything else, like, I don't know, staring at a blank wall? At least that's less likely to make you question the fabric of reality. So you're zipping around the Olympic City, late for handball because you spent too long staring at a man aggressively juggling churros. Understandable. You think, I'll just cut through Willow Way, it'll shave off 10 minutes. Oh, sweet summer child, you haven't considered the security checkpoints. Because Willow Way? It's like someone took airport security, added a dash of existential dread, and then sprinkled it with the faint scent of desperation. Every 100 feet, another checkpoint. Every checkpoint, another line. Every line, another group of people realizing they should have just discovered the joys of competitive speed walking. Look, I understand security is important, especially during a global sporting event that's essentially a giant, sweaty magnet for potential chaos. But at a certain point, it stops being effective and starts being the reason you miss seeing the Mongolian archery team hit a bullseye from like 50 paces. Which, by the way, is apparently a thing. So, unless you're particularly fond of invasive bag searches, metal detectors, and the palpable tension of 1,000 people questioning their life choices, I'd suggest avoiding Willow Way. Or, just embrace the chaos and pack a lunch. It's going to be a long wait. Next up, we have Ash Avenue, a street that seems to have majored in roadblocks at the University of Inconvenience. Now I understand the need for road closures during the Olympics. It's a logistical nightmare, like trying to herd cats through a confetti factory, but Ash Avenue takes it to a whole new level. Imagine this. You're driving down the road, humming along to the official Olympic anthem, which surprisingly slaps, when suddenly, bam, roadblock. Okay, fine, you'll take a detour. But just as you turn onto the next street, bam, another roadblock, and another. It's like playing a real-life game of whack-a-mole, except instead of moles, it's your hopes and dreams of reaching your destination on time. The truly impressive thing about Ash Avenue's roadblock strategy is its sheer inclusivity. They don't discriminate. 2 lanes, blocked. 4 lanes, also blocked. Sidewalks, forget about it. They've even been known to block off alleyways just to really drive the point home. So, unless you're a big fan of U-turns, impromptu street races with other frustrated drivers, or the thrill of navigating your car through a maze of orange cones, I'd recommend steering clear of Ash Avenue. Now, I'm not one to judge a book by its cover, but when it comes to Poplar Street during the Olympics, let's just say the cover is a blurry photo taken at night with the caption, "Enter at your own risk." Because Poplar Street, it's where shady dealings and questionable decisions come to party. The thing is, the Olympics attract a lot of people, and not all of them are there for the badminton. Pickpocketing, scams, you name it, Poplar Street's got it. I'd suggest avoiding Poplar Street altogether. And then there's Fir Street. You might think a street named after an evergreen tree would be charming. You'd be wrong. This street smells of burnt rubber and regret. Statistically, Fir Street is a hotbed of fender benders. Full-on, metal-crunching, airbag-deploying collisions. It's just one of those statistical anomalies. Almost impressive in a morbid sort of way. You could film a low-budget action movie car chase scene here. So yeah, maybe give Fir Street a wide berth. Well, we've arrived at Redwood Road, and let me tell you, the name couldn't be more misleading. Redwood Road is about as sturdy as a soggy biscuit. This road looks like it's lost a fight with a cheese grater. The kind of neglect that makes you wonder where your tax dollars are going. It's a danger to both drivers and pedestrians. You might be better off on foot. Just watch out for the potholes. Ah, Cypress Lane, the scenic route. If you're a fan of gridlock punctuated by the dulcet tones of 1,000 bullhorns. Look, I get it, the Olympics are exciting, and maybe you feel passionately about whatever cause is currently being championed on Cypress Lane. But let me tell you, the only thing you'll be championing while stuck in this traffic is the impressive structural integrity of your own tear ducts as you quietly weep in frustration. Now, I'm all for freedom of speech and the right to assemble, but I'm also a firm believer in the right to not have your commute turn into a performance art piece about the pitfalls of globalization. Seriously, it's like someone bottled the spirit of 1,000 disgruntled college sophomores and unleashed it on this unsuspecting street. And don't even think about trying to navigate this mess on a bicycle. You'll be caught in a sea of humanity, dodging placards and flagpoles like you're in some sort of dystopian obstacle course. Frankly, you'd have better luck swimming the English Channel. So unless you're looking to make a political statement with your choice of transportation, I suggest you steer clear of Cypress Lane during the Olympics. Trust me, your sanity will thank you for it. Sycamore Street, a place so devoid of public transportation, it makes the surface of the moon look bustling. You'd have better luck hitching a ride on a tumbleweed. It's like they repelled public transportation with an invisible force field. Be prepared to circle the block for hours searching for parking. Honestly, you'd be better off just walking. Well, there you have it, folks. The top 15 streets to avoid during the Olympics if you value your time, your sanity, and your ability to not spontaneously combust from sheer frustration. Remember, these are just suggestions. If you're feeling adventurous, or if you just enjoy the thrill of the unknown, by all means, go ahead and brave these urban hellscapes. But for the rest of us who prefer to actually enjoy the Olympics, without the added stress of navigating logistical nightmares, I suggest you stick to the well-trodden paths. Or better yet, just stay home and watch the whole thing on TV. You'll get a better view anyway. And on that note, thanks for watching. Stay safe, enjoy the Olympics, and remember, if you see a street name from this video on a map, run. Run like the wind. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more helpful tips.